Let's do it.
All right. Welcome back. Chaos Conversation.
In the building.
Let's go. Hey.
Terrific Tuesday is here. Or as some of y'all been calling it, Taco Tuesday, Pop
Did
Show
you
Tuesday.
have some
You know,
tacos today?
man, listen. If I'm gonna have any tacos, you know I'm going to my mother for the best tacos on earth, man. You know it.
There you go. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way to do it, right?
Oh, hey, man. She fixes the originals. The best there is.
There you go.
You know it.
I like it, man. So how's your week been so far?
It's been crazy, man. You know, get ready for this. I'm trying to do fix some things around my house. You know, get ready to start some new business ventures. You
Right.
know, you're living the kid-free, blessed bachelor life, man. No issues, no trouble attached. You know what I mean?
I like it.
No,
I like it.
no drama allowed. No drama,
I
no
hear you,
drama.
man.
How about you, man?
Very similar, man. Just around the way, enjoying the beautiful weather that we've been having.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
So that's always a positive and great thing to have when the weather is great and you can just sit back and enjoy.
You ain't gotta tell me twice, man. It's the only thing I can't stand is when it starts to rain for too many days.
Right.
I mean, when you have someone you're committed to, you got a wife or a spouse or a husband or whatever. I mean, raining can sometimes even better life in a lot of ways. But
Well, that just means you're stuck. That means you have to find something inside to do.
exactly, exactly. And we all know what to do when it rains, man. And there ain't nothing else to do.
Oh man, too funny.
Hey, man, hey.
Hey, let's jump right in this joint.
Yeah, man. Because since the last time we were on here, man, there's still been Matter of fact, there's been a few calls recorded, but I didn't bring it to the young lady's attention, so I'm still trying to second guess if I should let y'all hear it or not. But I said, you know what? I'm gonna give it some time because if she heard herself, if she knows what she sounds like, and she's also a fan of ours, so
Oh
I got
yeah,
I gotta ask her and see.
yeah. You can always find out and see. We'll see what's up. What you call it? So let's jump right in. Hey, first topic for today: Is there a cure for being cheated on?
Me personally, I feel like there is, but it also depends. You have to ask people have to ask themselves. From those who've been calling me and those who've been I've been talking to about it. You guys got to ask yourselves: are you just committed to this person, as in you're not married to him or her yet, or are you guys married and you really love this person, but you really want this to work? It's like so. It depends on who the person is, where they're at. Because I mean, to me, I feel as though being cheated on, I feel there is a cure for it, but they both parties have to want it enough, and one has to allow the other one to come back to him or her, as well as the one who got cheated on has to be willing to accept him or her back. I
Right.
mean, like commitments are different than marriages, because don't forget, for marriage you said for better or for worse.
No, definitely.
But I mean, what do you think, Sam? Because it's almost a catch-22, but I still, like I said, it can be a cure though.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's various ways people get over being cheated on, and I would say I'll just talk about one at a time. So let's say the first one, Some people go ahead and they jump back into a new relationship. I'm not going to say that's the best policy or the best thing you should be doing, but I think it is. Sometimes if the time is right, maybe people go ahead and do that. But to be honest, my personal opinion is the cure is to do some self-reflecting, maybe jot down, write in a journal, and get your thoughts on paper about what you've experienced, what you've been through, and what you're feeling every day. But most importantly, what you think you contributed to the relationship that may have led to that. Right now, sometimes it may have been nothing. Right, you may have just been with a person that that's they just did that. That's who they are. But I would say 9 times out of 10, there's something on both sides that has led one person to make that move. No one's really not guilty. There is no not guilty in that, because usually there's some fault somewhere, and it may not be the person that got cheated on may say, well, nothing's my fault, I didn't do anything. But what actually made that person want to go out? Was it lack of attention, lack of romance, lack of conversation, was it some other thing where they were lacking in some area and they decided, you know what, hey, whatever.
That's let me piggyback off that when I tell men and women this. Okay, I'm gonna say, fellas, when you get cheated on from a woman, okay, there is some, like Sam just said, there are some ways you can take a step back and be like, all right, well, what did I do? How did I pull the trigger? That's the best way I can put it. How did I pull the trigger, before I got shot at like that by being cheated on? What did I do to make her do that? And the thing is, well, what did you not do? Because I have had only one story where out of all the people I've been talking to during this time is he gets cheated on, and he wants to know, he's more upset with her. I said, hold up, don't forget what we talk about, man. Point the finger at yourself. What did you do or what did you not do that made her want to do that? And next thing I know, come to find out what it was from him was lack of emotional knowledge and lack of emotional connection with her. Because the only thing I heard from him was her grandfather, who she loves dearly, had passed away during the time frame. And I was like, well, were you there for her? Well, and I'm asking these questions. And so small stuff like that from a man or a woman's point of view, but we're speaking from the man right now, is he lacked a lack of emotion with her. He didn't have any after her granddad, who was her everything, all his life. And so I was like, bingo, that's what it is, Doc. I said, no, it's like everything else we've talked about. You talk about her granddad was like a father to her, a father figure. And it was the last grandparent she had. And I'm like, I'm listening to you and I'm hearing what else you did all around that. I said, well, but don't think about him and her was he felt that because they were committed, but they weren't married yet, that he shouldn't have to go that deep. I said, well, dude, I said, can you see yourself marrying this woman? He's like, yeah. I was like, well, how long y'all been together? He was like 6 years. I'm like, okay, dude, that's enough time right there. And they are in their 30s. So 6 years in your 30s, that's enough time to say, hey, you guys could have been married already, but for whatever reason they weren't. So in that case like that, she went out and was like, come to find out she cheated on him because he lacked the emotional emotions. He had no connection. He had, no connection for her. His emotion wasn't strong enough for her when she needed it most. And so, all right, dude, that right there, it's like you guys love each other. They don't have any kids together at the moment. So I'm like, all right, small stuff like that. It can be the smallest things that we don't expect of what we did not do to be cheated on. Now, I mean, from a woman's point of view, I mean, okay, a lot of them get cheated on for whatever reason. Sometimes men, they just, I know some men, man, they just get tired of the same old woman. And let's speak of, again, only being committed. Okay, we're going to get to marriage in a second, but being just committed, that's why I don't have game, swag, or, a facade. I don't put on none of that. I'm just myself, because after a while, ladies, the man might get tired of you. You might get tired of him. So the thing is, go back to what you guys were doing when you started dating each other. Have you guys have him or you slack from that? Okay, well, I mean, there's a lot of things to look for from a woman's point of view. What did you do? I don't know.
Right.
It's like one girl, Crystal. I'm not gonna give her last name, but one girl, Crystal, was like, hey, she started giving more attention to their child than she gave to her baby daddy, who she still's with. That's when and I'm like, okay, if you guys do have a child together, fellas, I mean, you got to understand, a child, you're already a grown man and you still can take care of yourself, but a child needs to be taken care of, whether it's school, diapers, food, whatever, clothing. So the child, that's what fellas, you got to, if you are committed, before you go out and do all that, and you're going to cheat on your baby mama, your woman, because she's giving the child more attention than you, I mean, there's some things you got to consider right there.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, there's
everything changes.
Another way people get over relationships. Some people go out and I mean, this goes into our next topic, but we're not going to get into the next topic yet. But some people go out and abuse drugs, right?
There you go.
Some people, I won't call, natural things that grow on plants drugs, but alcohol.
Yep.
Some people abuse cigarettes. Cigarettes are not a drug, right? But it's harmful for you. We know it's harmful for you, right? So some people take their that pain and then surround themselves with some other sort of pain or something they think is helping them get through the trauma, but what it's actually doing is causing them more pain, long-term pain. But it could be short-term too, right? I know somebody that happened to them. They got cheated on, and then what did they do? They went out and ended up getting a DWI one night, So yeah, you don't want that to happen, but it did.
And then, yeah, and if I could just say this, and see, ladies, if your man goes out and cheats, I mean, there's times that where a man will cheat because he's drunk. He's like, all right, whatever attention you're giving the child. Let's say you guys do have a child together. Whatever attention you're giving the child, and he's the one working, providing, protecting, and doing all this other stuff for the family. Whether you guys have an apartment together, they move, he moved in your place, you moved in his. None of that really matters when a man is out here trying to be a father, be your man, provide and do all that. It's like, okay, I agree, baby should come first to a certain extent, but also he's the one working his tail off to provide for y'all. So it's okay to give their child attention, but also don't forget he still would like the same amount of attention or time that you gave him when you guys first met. Because when that starts to slow down, or it starts to you start to let go, he can feel it. And sometimes he's dead tired, he needs for somebody to catch him. You know what I mean? And then
so you're talking about reasons why people do it.
Well, yeah, because the first thing is identifying why people may cheat. So like I told everybody, don't just point the finger that they cheated. It's like, well, you had to do something, or you had to stop doing something that mattered to them for him or her to cheat on you. And normally that's what it is. For
most of the time, yeah.
Yeah, as I said, sometimes that's what it is. And it's like as I've been talking to people over time, and I mean, this game or swag or whatever he has for size he wants to put on to grab your attention. It's like, well, don't expect that to stay on full blast through the whole time you guys are dating, talking, and staying, or staying together, or getting to know each other and all that. Don't expect that to stay on full blast 24/7. That's gonna, the temperature is gonna turn down on that. The miles are gonna, he is gonna slow down on all that eventually. Now,
right.
It depends also. Like okay, well, first thing is identifying, like I said, what you may have done as a he or she for your partner or man or woman or spouse to cheat on you. Once you identify what that is there, then the best thing you can do is try to pick back up on it. That's the best thing. Once you find out what it is. And I always go back to, respect and communication. What have you heard him or her say anything prior to cheating on you that, like, honey, where's the food? Or, have you seen their character change, their attitude, or personality change between time? And sometimes, we might miss that. But
yeah,
after you've identified everything you've done, okay, let's just speak of what do you think couples should do, Sam? Because I already have the answer for them, but what do you think couples should do when they want to get back together and maybe even marry this person who cheated on them already?
So hold on, describe that situation again.
Yeah, let's say we've already identified like what men and women can do to take blame for it. So now let's talk about, let's say a man has been cheated on, or a woman has been cheated on, and they've been committed to this. They've been committed to their partner for at least 8 months to a year, but they still want to marry this person. who cheated on them, and they're not married yet. So they're only committed, but they've been committed for a year. They've been committed for a year, got cheated on, and they want this person who cheated on them to be their spouse. So what do you think they should? Because
I mean, I think that's interesting.
those people like that.
I think people should. I don't know. That's interesting. I mean, to each his own. I'm not going to tell people not. Listen to me now, guys. I'm not saying do not do it. What I'm saying is that I don't think it is the brightest idea right away, right?
Mm-hmm.
So has this person, number one, have they figured out why they did it? Do they show any remorse? Have they gone to therapy to figure out why they've done this? Have they taken the steps to become a better person? If they haven't, you can go ahead and hold up the stop sign right in front of them. Boom, stop right there. Do not pass go. Do not collect 200. No need. But if this person, if you really, let's say you were married and you really have strong feelings for this person still, you love them, you're in love with them. Maybe you have kids, maybe you don't. You've been through a lot. And maybe you did have a bad spell where the two of you were not communicating the best and other things were going on. But now you've worked through those things. You've taken time apart. Maybe you've dated other people and decided, you know what? Yeah, while dating was fun and maybe I like this person over here, like this person over here. It's not like the person I was with. So now you guys have grown. You've been outside. You've seen that maybe the grass is greener, maybe it's not greener. And now you decided, oh, you know what? Now's the time for us to come back together and try things out, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I think you can't go wrong. I don't think you can go wrong giving it a try after you've taken concrete steps, right? I don't think people should just jump back into those things and give people chance after chance after chance. But if somebody's shown the proof and the evidence that they're working on themselves and they're working on, moving forward and respecting the relationship, hey, give it a try.
There you go.
Take it slow. Don't just jump all the way back in, move in together, do all those things. Take it slow as if this was a brand new person that you didn't know. That's the hardest thing when you're trying to, even if there was no cheating, you just broke up, on regular terms, and now you're trying to start things over again. You need to start slow and pretend like you don't know this person, get to know them all over again, and go down that path.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? Perfect, brother. I'm gonna piggyback on that when I state that it's also good. I'm gonna try to speak from the ladies' point of view and then the fellas' point of view. But I mean, I know ladies love a lot. Most ladies love a lot harder than men. But I'm just gonna put it out there like this. Like Sam was saying, you've been cheated on. Okay, give each other a little bit of space and time. See if there's some growing, developing, maturing that you both may want to do. And like Sam stated earlier, get a journal. State just how you feel on the journal and get your emotions off right there on the journal, because who's going to be there for you to hold your hand, have you cry on the shoulder, or have you, I mean, fellas don't cry on the shoulders as often, but maybe 1 out of 10 or 2 out of 10. So it's like, all right, fellas, you got to find something that's going to occupy you without trying to get payback at the woman or the man who just cheated on you. I mean, different ages are different things will go on. I'm just going to speak from people 25 to at least 55. So let's just say that, but give each other time and space to miss each other. And then whoever did the cheating, I would say, have him or her, let them miss you. Let them fall back. Let them, counseling while you're dating, we ain't talking about marriage yet, but while you're committed, counseling is, or therapy is not really that much of a must unless you really want to, or you're that desperate. And you can see yourself, like I said, marrying that man or woman. But when you give each other time and space away from each other, it gives each other time to miss each other. And then also gives each other time to develop, to grow, and look back and see, well, do I really love him? Do I really love her? And once you do that, to me, this is just speaking from experience. To me, it is okay to date, but date with the purpose of wanting to better yourself. Whether you cheated on somebody or you got cheated on, it's okay to date. I ain't saying sleep around. I'm saying date to see, okay, do I still have these bad habits? What am I lacking? What am I getting, better at? What have I done? You know, are my improvements, you know, being the improvements I'm doing becoming habits of who I
Right.
want to be for this person. You know what I mean? So this is just from being cheated on, man. And there's a lot of ways you can get cheated on. The most common way is, you know, sleeping around. It's like, all right, whoever did the cheating, I feel like he or she should make up for it. And whoever got cheated on, you should have him or her let them make it up for you. I mean, and read their actions. Don't just, you know, buy everything they say or text you and stuff like that. But, you know, because texting does not kill your emotion, for one thing, at all. I mean, but if they want to make it up for you, like I said, after you give each other some time and space, that's the best thing to do. And I mean, when he's like, all right, well, you want to try this again because you can see yourself marrying this man or woman, then you have to make sure that what they're showing you whenever you guys do get back together, maybe 3 or 4 months, you know, 4 months to a year. I don't know, everybody's time is different for getting back together. But when you guys do get back together, you have to, if you're the one who cheated, ma'am or sir, you have to be the one be willing to, you know, yeah, no, you have to, the habits, the good habits you're bringing back, they have to become habits. They can't just be a little facade, a little game, a little swag that you want to do to impress him or impress her temporarily. Because what's going to happen? 4 or 5 months down the line, when he or she no longer sees, you know, the same stuff, whether it's breakfast in bed or, you know, let's just go for a walk, you know, on this day, this time, I mean, just stuff for to have, well, you guys are that compatibility is back between you all. But don't just do it to win her back or win him back. Make it a habit. And so, but yeah, make it a habit of who you are. But definitely, like Sam said, time apart is definitely a good thing, a good way to start curing the relationship back after being cheated on, or even after cheating on your man or woman. Because I mean, that's just one little gift.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, that's I mean, it's tough. I mean, it's always a tough journey. I don't wish that on anyone. A lot of people, a lot of times it leads to violence. You know what I mean? Just look on YouTube.
Oh man,
Type in cheating, caught cheating or something, or
it's called.
People are wild, man.
Isn't there a show called Cheaters?
It used to be a long time ago. I don't know if that still is on air.
Okay, I used to watch that every now and then, man. All of them daggum cameras in your face being cheated on. Like, man, who are you? Man, that came out of my face, man. And then a lot of times those people were married. So I mean, married. If you want to step into that, man, let me know, because what we just got through talking about is commitments. Whether it's a year, 5 years, 10 years. I mean, 10 years of commitment is a long time not to get married, but I mean, to each his own. But being committed, when you're being cheated on and you're committed, it's like, because here's one thing I'm always asking people. I've even asked myself in the past is, do the values in that person, there's always pros and cons. Do the cons outweigh the pros with that person? If they do not outweigh the pros, then that's a sign you can probably move forward. And there's always, like, you know, right, and there's always some good, there's always some bad. Okay, well, does the good outweigh the bad with this person? If the good outweighs the bad, those are signs to give a person another chance. But if it's a habit of who they are, all I can say is, I mean, there is going to be that flag on the play. So when there is a flag on the play, like I said, this is just the first time being cheated on. It's like, all right, well, because a lot of times when you catch the flag on the play of him or her cheating, but you still want to marry that person, that's a flag on the play, and you got to make the call, because if you're gonna marry that person, that's a sign right there. Can you deal with it being married to the person? They're trying to show you right now. They're trying to test you right now. Can you handle being cheated on? How are you going to take it?
Oh, most people cannot.
Oh yeah, I know. Matter of fact, as soon as we get into the marriages, man, there's a movie out here I think y'all should go check out as far as being married to a man or a woman who cheats. Oh yeah, there's a movie. But you know what? Let's go there then, man. Let's go there. We're being married to a person and being cheated on. If we'll say, I mean,
in a committed. When you say in a committed relationship?
Say what now?
I said, why don't you just say in a committed relationship?
Well, I mean, like, being committed but not married is different than being married, though. I mean, when you're married,
so, I mean, the real difference is legality, legal
contract.
You know, you're under contract now.
Yeah, I mean, so I mean, before you, I mean, you're not really. How can I say it? It's you're not really under contract, but you're what's another word for it? Um, yeah, you're not on the contract. You're on the lease. That's what it is. You're on lease.
You're on lease, okay.
Yeah, you on lease or something like that. So I mean, but yeah, being married and you get cheated on, it's I mean, you think about it by that time. A lot of times couples have put their bank accounts together, they have a house together, they may have a family together, and so they're like, we built all this together, and you let some side dude or some side chick tear almost, start to tear this down for us by getting you sidetracked.
Yeah.
So it's different
I mean, it
because
happens. Definitely
it,
happens.
it's way different. It's like normally when you're committed to a person and you've been, this is your man, this is your woman. Sometimes you have your own places. Sometimes people move in together too soon, which is a whole different conversation. But when you're married, I'm telling you, it's something totally different. It's like going from the from the amateurs to the professionals. Oh yeah, oh yeah. It's like going from
Yes, I
the
mean it's the you're in the big dance now, you know.
yeah. I mean, this is the big dog. This is the real deal. This ain't this ain't I'm curious no more. This is I'm serious. When you marry, it's, okay. Again, what's hers is yours. What's his is mine. Vice versa. Blase, whether it's children, assets, accounts, whatever property, it's like you guys are living as one. You guys are the team. And this ain't where you can say, hey, there's no I in team and there's no me either in no team. You know what I mean? Like me. No, it's not I. It's we. Everywhere you go. So it's like marriage is it's a whole different ball game. And whenever you're in a marriage and you fellas you get cheated on by by your woman, I know one thing you gotta do is keep calm, man. You can't be like some dude I knew in college, man, who was about to tear down the whole door, even though he wasn't married though, girl. They know who I'm talking about.
Oh man.
Then you go scare all your neighbors around you. You cannot, fellas, you cannot do that, man. Even though our boy wasn't married though, girl. Boy, it was like Tasman Devil was in that joint, man. From what I heard.
That was pretty fun.
Yeah, but he wasn't even married though, man. He was dedicated. He was in with all his heart. And I'm like, hey, whew. So fellas, yeah, one thing you can't do is like try and kill or tear down or break everything around you when you first get the confirmation. I mean, it is going to be difficult. It's going to be like, somebody just stole your heart from, did that again, Mortal Kombat fatality on your tail and stole your heart, but you're still standing. It's going to, oh yeah, you're going to feel like, you're going to feel I can't describe the words for it. It's crazy. Because this is a woman you're married to.
Soul crushing. That's the right words for it.
You said what?
Soul crushing.
Oh yeah, I've heard that before. I used to use that way back when. But yeah, fellas, it's first thing you can still do, man. Being cheated on is don't try to. Worst thing you can do is try to confront right away. This is only when you have like video or you have complete 1,000% facts, true facts that your wife is cheating on you. And once you have, I mean, now you can't be saying, "Oh, I heard this," "Oh, I thought I saw that," because next thing you know, it's a cousin or something else like that. But this is only when you have 1,000% true fact that your wife is cheating on you. And the first thing, like we said earlier, was take a step back, give yourself some breathing room, and cool off. Because I can't. How can I say it? It's gonna be one of the. Don't think it can be worse than that. It's like a close one dying on you. Sometimes I won't even be able to, match it because it depends on where your emotions, where your feelings are for your wife, how much you love your wife, and how much she means to you, and all that stuff. But the first thing is still giving yourself time to cool off.
Oh yeah, you're right about that. Right about that. Yeah, I mean it could be a very traumatic event. And some people never get over it. A lot of people don't, especially if you feel like you have been, what's the right word? Betrayed.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that's the right word, right? Because in some ways you have been, in some ways you have not. But to the person that is on the other side, they probably could feel like, hey, I've been betrayed by the person. Because at the end of the day, it's trust, right? So somebody may say, you know what, I feel like not only have you broken the trust, how am I supposed to ever trust you again if you've destroyed that trust? And I mean, it's a valid point,
Yeah, it is. It is, and it's definitely. I mean, there's the respect gone. I mean, not gone, but there's respect. The respect level has been deteriorated. Let's just say from a scale of 1 to 10, you've been cheating. You've been cheated on. That goes from 10 to like maybe a two or threes. Maybe not even that, because the trust, the respect, the loyalty is like a lot goes with it. And then
Right.
I mean, yeah, if you still want to be fellas. If you still want to be married to her, it's like you want this to work out for the better or for worse. Then it's like when you're married, that's when I would advise both you all go to counseling too. After you give yourself a little time to cool off and everything, I'll be like, well, does she want this to work? And if she does want this to work, I mean, because during the time frame that you give each other time apart, that's again time to better yourselves on both ends, and also miss each other. Because when you miss each other and you come back, you're like, I couldn't do this without you. I wasn't the same he. I tried. And I mean, if you've been cheated on, I wouldn't say go out and try to get revenge with a date right away if you're trying to make that marriage work. And the only way I would say get out and maybe go to like a family gathering, be around people who respect you as a married man or man and a married woman, but don't try to go out and get revenge right away. Sometimes it may work, most of the time it won't. But it's like when you're both after you have given each other time apart, everybody's timing is different. I'd say at least 4 to 5 months. 4 to 5 months or 6 to 8 months, whatever works for you guys. It's everybody's time is different. But after you have given each other time to miss each other, and stepped away, and you try to get back with her, and she wants to stay married to you, and you still want to be married to her, that's when you go get some counseling. Because if you guys really want this to work, because you've had time apart to think about it, you've had time apart to cool off, cool down. And when you get counseling, it's not just the counseling is not just for the person who cheated. It's also for the person who got cheated on, the victim, whatever you want to call them, so they can, be back on the same page, be back in the same book. You know what I mean? Understand what I call understand this second language that you both are, comfortable and confident in. So yeah.
No, totally agree.
Yeah.
Because there's so many factors that come into play, and so many different things that, one thing, the best thing, I don't want to say the best thing, but one thing that does come into play is your friends giving you advice.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, you can get advice from a wide variety of sources, but sometimes the best advice you can get is not from your friends in question, because a lot of people give you, they have something personal. They have a personal stake in it, right? Maybe they don't like that person, your partner, your significant other. Maybe they don't like something about them. And so guess what? Then they may not give you honest and fair feedback. Whereas Bruce mentioned counseling earlier, maybe you do have a friend that has no clue about your personal, well, I won't say no clue about your personal life if they're your friend, but maybe they're a very reasonable person, no ill will, but also like a third party, right? There's always a lot of companies these days provide mental health services and things like that, counseling, other things, and they're for free because you pay for it they take it out of your check anyway. And so you might as well call it and utilize it, and it's all confidential. So they won't go back and tell your employer or stuff like that, so utilize those resources. A lot of times that's what's wrong with people. We hesitate to use some of those resources because we're afraid of what other people may think of us. But the reality is, who cares what people think of you? What do you think of yourself? Right?
That's your marriage. And you know what I'm saying? That's one good thing you picked up, you touched on, man. Like me, everybody looks like, all right, well, you're single, you're not married, don't have any kids. So how can you relate? And see what Sam was talking about though is when you guys got friends who are single, if you're trying to move forward with your woman or your wife, fellas, and you got friends out there saying, "Oh, leave her alone," or forget her, all this, if they try to to take you down while they're trying to pull you down while you're trying to pull yourself up, or they're trying to pull you back while you're trying to push forward in your marriage. Now those are friends you need to cut off, or do like I say, that put them on suspension while you're trying to get through with your wife who may have to cheat on you, but. If they're also, encouraging you, inspiring you, motivating you, empowering you to go ahead and, move forward with the marriage, then yeah, you can keep them around. But when they're single and I mean, or even if they're they're not married, but they're trying to keep you away from the woman you still want to be with. Yeah, I'm not saying cut them off because I mean everybody's different, but put them on suspension while you're going through what you're going through, and then because ladies, I will say, and one thing else, don't put too much of the business on social media because a lot of times all you're gonna get is folks trying to who want the worst for you.
Right.
That's the worst thing you can do is put your stuff on social media. When your friends do something, I mean, that's out of control. But yeah, when you're gonna, that's just speaking from a man's point of view. But from a lady's point of view, it's also one other small factor for men and women is if before you marry your woman or man is how much baggage or trauma or drama did you have from a previous relationship that you're still holding on to, because that weight is going to come down and knock you down. I don't care who you are if you're still carrying it in the marriage. So then I mean that's just for the fellas though, but for the ladies, it's I mean hearing you all the way, you guys make it sound like somebody robbed you when you guys get cheated on. It's like, man, this is the devil, man. It's the devil if I do, man, I'm gonna go to jail. It's like, it's a whole different ball game, man. When I hear ladies get cheated on, it's like they hate the whole world all of a sudden. I mean, everybody's different, to each his own. But yeah, ladies, when you do get cheated on, it's I mean, fellas, I ain't gonna lie. There's a lot of men who are just they're still curious as to what's out there for whatever reason. I know some men who just they get bored. I mean,
yeah.
I mean,
that means most likely they're not ready to be in a committed relationship. It doesn't mean marriage or anything. They're just not ready to be in a committed relationship. If you get bored that easily. Now, if you're talking about somebody after 20, 30 years, then maybe you need to have an honest conversation. What that tells me is that they don't trust their significant other enough to have a honest conversation with them, because it's a hard thing to do, right? You don't want to hurt the other person's feelings. You don't want to, do all these things or whatever. But at the end of the day, guess what? You've hurt their feelings by stepping out. Why not just have an honest conversation with them about whatever's going on and try to gauge their opinion? But the reality is most people, human beings, tend to do things that are the easiest, right? We tend to err on the side of caution, go towards what's easiest, not what's hardest. And we have to challenge ourselves sometimes, whether it be a relationship, a job, a career, friendships, dating, marriage. Sometimes you do have to take the leap and do something that's hard. But having a conversation, if you're married to somebody or in a committed relationship, you should be able to talk to that person. So if you cannot talk to that person, maybe that's your sign right there that maybe you need to take an inner look inside and figure out what's going on,
Yeah, and it's just like you said, it's outside the respect level, man, outside that trust. Before you break either or, you're married to a man or woman, it's like you got to sit back and like, all right, well, what got us here in the first place? And like Sam was saying, it's like you can take a chance. It's better to take a chance and get a no than it is to not take any risk at all. I mean, to not take any chance at all, and you're basically risking or putting your marriage on the line because you. A lot of people who I spoke with in the past, when I talked to them about, well, what made you cheat, this or that, they was like, well, whatever the excuse was, I'm like, okay, well, why don't you go back to the basic fundamentals of what got you guys together in the first place? And then sometimes I'll get stuff like, oh, we outgrew that, or that's a thing of the past, or whatever. I'm like, no, it's not. Whatever got you guys together in the first place, whether it was going out dating, doing whatever together, texting, calling, whatever it was, whatever got you guys together in the first place and held you guys together before you married him or her, then sometimes you have to go back to that. And it's never too late. You're never too old once you're married to a person, because this is what works for you guys. But a lot of times what I'm hearing and reading and talking to people about is that, they're trying to be like their friends. They're trying to be like their parents or those people they see on TV. I'm like, this is your marriage. This is not acting on TV. This is not your friends, your family's marriage. This is yours. So it's like you have to do what works for you. And just to give you guys,
what do you want? What do you want out of it, right?
And to give you guys one example of, it's traditional that the man is the head of the household. But I mean, if that's not working for you guys, then don't try to make it work just because it works for everyone else. If the woman has to be the head of the household for whatever reason, as because the man is laid off or stressed, depressed, whatever, then do what works for you. But don't be like, okay, well I have to divorce him because he's not the man of the household no more. No, I mean that's life happening. That's what women you're supposed to you're supposed to be your husband's backbone when times like that come. You ain't supposed to just go by he say, she say, this said. No, you're supposed to be his backbone and be there for him where he's lacking at. I mean, that don't mean try to carry the world on, don't mean try to carry the whole relationship on your back the whole time, but at the same time, be there for when you need it the most.
Right.
And same thing. It's she goes through depression, she's stressed for this or that because she has. I mean, think about it. I'm gonna name all the titles that a husband and a wife normally have, which is okay, husband, wife, sister, brother, sister, mom, dad, and that sibling. I mean, there's all these responsibilities, and then you think about stuff like all these titles and your employees. Some of y'all might be business owners on top of that, so you got all these titles you're carrying, and it's like, all right, well, depending on how you guys want to live, how your relationship is going to go. Sometimes those titles they come in like I know a woman who she was always there for her niece and nephews for whatever reason. She loved her niece and nephews. She was always there, and then her husband was like, "Man, you are more of an aunt to them than you are a mother for our children." And she's like, "Well, I got you though." And like, okay, but that right there in itself was starting to be is starting to play a factor in their marriage because she's like, "Well, my sister is a single mom." And her sister had kids before they had kids, as a married couple. So she was helping. And to me, I was like, well, I'm not going to mention her name, but you have to go ahead as a wife. You have to look at it from your husband's point of view and your kids' point of view because you're a mother now. Back then, you weren't a mother when you used to help your sister. And don't forget, you have other siblings too. You were just the best at it. So I was like, yeah, you gotta. And for while your husband did this, while your husband is hanging out. And because she complained her husband wasn't being home as often. He was going to the bar to watch games and enjoy life rather than come home because he knew what he was coming home to. He didn't want to come home for dinner because he knew what came with the dinner. Sometimes it'd be his niece and nephew, especially on Fridays, she said. So I'm like, all right, well, again, what are you not doing? Or what are you doing? Just making him do that. See? And that's something that was before any huge cheating went on, that was a case we were able to work out. I just gave a little bit of advice from a man's point of view and from what she was telling me. I never got his point of view on it. But after I told her that, she did tell me, I saw her later on in the public, that yeah, she had gotten a lot of the changes. But see, also to her, she was the one, that's what I mean by pulling the trigger. And before it's like you keep shooting. And so this time you keep pulling by pulling the trigger, she was bringing her niece and nephew to their house to play with their kids. So she's thinking she was doing her kids a favor. But it's like, nah, man, the husband wants to go out and do stuff. The husband wants to go out, but he can't take you out no more because, of the kids. And he's not going to take the kids to his mom's house because, your niece and nephew are with him. So it was there's stuff like that at times that goes back to respect. And I mean, there is no man of the household, woman of the household. That's, respect and communication right there.
Gotcha. Yeah.
You ever had
all valid points.
Yeah. But I mean, let's migrate to the next
topic.
Go ahead.
Migrate to the next topic while we entertain. Next topic. What do we want to talk about today? Let's see. Mental health. So there's so many in the midst. So I won't go down that rabbit hole. But there's been a lot of shootings and things lately, and people always blame it on mental health and stuff. So what we're not going to talk about guns and all that right now, but we just wanted to talk about mental health in relationships because it is important, right? So what if, here's a question, Bruce, and somebody reached out to us about mental health and they asked the question, they said, I think this was a female, and she was saying, my boyfriend he got laid off from his job, which it wasn't his own fault. Companies, a lot of companies are downsizing right now. But then he started getting depressed. He wasn't getting out of bed. So, he was having some mental health issues going on because of, for various reasons, right? Men like to, or some men like to link their they think they're only successful if they're, doing well in their career, a lot of people are like that. And not just men, but, a lot of men typically do. So he started getting depressed and doing all that. So she was asking, you know, how can I help him and do these things? And, you know, we suggested, well, the first thing is you have to identify that there is a problem, right? That's the first step. Then the second step is, now that you know he has a problem, you want to try to get him help. If they refuse to get help, then that's a whole nother task. Maybe you reach out to his family, friends, parents, whatever. But you know, that first step is at least identifying that there is a problem. Because like you know, Bruce, the problem is a lot of times people will ignore what's going on until it's too late. And maybe that person is violent, or now they've harmed themselves or someone else because everyone just overlooked the issue. But what are your thoughts on that?
That's a good point also in relationships, man. Because this is also speaking from experience. Not it's how can I say it? Not me that I've done it, but I've experienced it because I've been around it to friends and family and houses and seen it. And I'm like, okay, it's almost like a situation like that is almost like he finds out he has cancer. And the main thing is you want to be there for him because you want to try to cure the cancer before it spreads. Because by the time it spreads, it's too late. By the time he gets stressed and depressed, and it starts to explode, it's too late. So times like that, you ladies, that's what I said earlier, just a minute ago, is you have to be the backbone. You should know your man well enough, or your husband, whichever one he is, well enough to know, okay, should we go out for a quick drink, a good bite to eat? You know, do something that's gonna get his mind off of it. Talk to him about it. And he's not the man of the household or whatever reason. Hey, you know, don't try to change anything. And at that time, I mean, you have to be there for him. You have to know what works for your man, because if you don't catch or help him cure the you know, what he's going through fast enough, it's going to spread. It's not going to do anything but get worse. So you have to, you know, like I know, be the backbone. If the kids are, hey, you know, you want to, you might have to take time away and from the ladies' night out and do more time out with your husband, your man, because you don't want this to get any worse. So just imagine how would you treat your husband if your husband came home and found out he had cancer? Would you just continue living the life you live, or would you try to take care of him as best you could? Same thing with, you know, losing a job, or go before if you can see the depression and stress, if you see signs of it early, then you want to try to be there for him as though he has, you know, something going on that, you know, that you still have a chance to help him cure. Because if not, it's going to get so bad and it'll get to the marriage. And before you know it, it's just, it's uncontrollable after a period of time. So
no, that's very true, because, you know, some people go down a rabbit hole and, you know, may not want to be helped, but at the end of the day, you know, this person can, if they can trust you, you know, most likely they will be receptive to you, helping them, talking to them, you know, things like that. So I think that, you know, maybe a basic conversation, but doing the little things, right? Especially if you're in a relationship with somebody, maybe they like a certain food, make that for them. Maybe they like a back rub soothes them. Maybe you do that or whatever, right? But then also you have to bring in those resources, right? And there's a lot of free resources out here, right? There's a lot of, especially during COVID. During COVID, a lot of resources that maybe most of us never heard of started coming out, especially when it came to mental health. Because guess what? We were all probably going a little crazy. We were stuck in our houses, depending on what city you lived in. Let's say you lived in a big city and there was no park around. Guess what? Maybe you could walk down the street, but there were some countries where you could not even leave your house or your apartment. Yeah. You got arrested, something like that or whatever, right? So people had to they had to get creative. And so there was a lot of resources that people started putting out there that were like, you know what, you can call this number for free and just talk to somebody. It's a random person, random stranger, but you can just talk to somebody. You know, they're not going to judge you. They're just listening. They will respond to your feedback. And most of the time, I think they were mental health professionals, psychiatrists, psychologists, things like that, or caseworkers. But they were able to respond and help you out, because we also saw the negative of mental health stuff, right? People lashing out in violent ways, burning things down, doing this, doing that. And not only that, I mean, guess what? There was a lot of mental health issues going on when we were seeing so much violence by authorities or the police against, especially Black and brown people, but white people were being abused as well. But just human beings in general, that was affecting a lot of people's mental health. So there was a lot of things going on the last 2 years, you know.
And since you went there, Sam, one thing else I'll tell you, ladies and gents, is when your kids are going through it also, man, because kids couldn't see their friends. Kids couldn't go to school. Kids couldn't do anything. There were kids going through depression and stress and going through mental health issues also. I mean, even when we talk about couples here and, you know, how it affects men and women, but kids got feelings too. Because like I said from the start of this year, I'm going to hold men, women, and kids accountable. So, hey, that's what we talk. It's a whole family we're talking about. It's not just human beings. So it's like when you got kids going through depression, it's like, all right, well, you know, your man going through it, your child might be going through it because they can't go outside and play with their friends no more, or whatever. And I mean, that's just for COVID going on. But ladies, I mean, you go through it too because you couldn't go get your hair done for whatever reason, or get your nails done. And it's like, that's the way. This is what makes me feel confident and comfortable with myself. And it's like, all right, fellas, you're like, all right, you got to find a way to have fun with it. But at the same time, there's everybody's different. Everybody's gonna take a dip. Like me, I didn't stress out one bit. It didn't bother me one bit. But I mean, everybody's situation is different. So I mean, and even if like I was bothered by it, and here's one other clue though: if you are stressed and depressed and you got mental health issues going on, that doesn't mean you still can't help somebody around you who may not have it as bad as you. But you can't help it so far when you're going through it yourself. It's like you're swimming and you can't, without drowning, you're trying to rescue this other person. It's like, you probably can, but not for so long. If you're still drowning yourself, I ain't talking about floating. I'm talking about if you're drowning yourself, you can't help somebody, but for so long, but for so much while you're going through it. That's why it's hear your partner out, hear your spouse out. When they when they give you the signs that they have some symptoms on the way, feel like they have cancer and help them get the best cure, whether it's counseling, coaching, whatever they need, something fun, back rub, foot rub, whatever it is to help them, get some more stress off their mind.
Well, that's what they tell you. That's what they tell you when you get on the plane, right? What do they tell you when you get on the plane? Put your mask on first because you can't help anybody else if you are dead and can't breathe.
Mm-hmm. And even with the kids, I mean, fellas, and as a husband, you see your kids going through it. I mean, hey, you might have to put some of your go shooting ball with the fellas, go doing this with the fellas, watching the game. You may have to set that aside to help your kids out because again, kids are a part of the family, hands down. But then also it's like, all right, your kids go through it. You're the man of the household. Your wife is starting to show signs that she's going through it too. I mean, it's a handful. It can go either spouse, husband, wife. But when the kids have it, it's still like, hey, it's better to get the kids while they are a headache before they become worse than that. I mean,
no, I mean that's a very astute point there, Bruce. I mean, a lot of people, especially we don't talk about the children enough, right? Think about how many kids all over. I mean, think about ourselves, right? How would we have reacted to something like this happening when we were in high school, when we didn't have cell phones? Nope. Most of us did not have computers at home. Most of us did not have access to a not only a computer, but like even the internet. The internet was new, Mm-hmm. So we didn't even have access to those things. So if you wanted to see somebody, you had to go, you had to live near someone you could walk to, ride your bike, do those things. But people were so afraid they didn't want you. Your parents didn't want you out talking to other people because they didn't know how this thing. And at first, we didn't know how this thing was spreading. Mm-hmm. And how contagious it was even outside. So now you're telling these young people, now you can't see your friends. You can talk to them on, I guess the house phone or whatever, because we didn't have cell phones back then. Nope. And that's all you have. You can't see them. You can't play sports. You can't hang out. You can't roller skate, bowling, movies. None of these things you can do. And I mean, I feel bad for these kids. I mean, even my own children, I had to talk to them. We had to have a lot of sit downs and conversations and discussions and to help them just get it off of their chests.
Yep.
Go work out. We did a lot of working out and training to kind of release that. Release that energy, That
weight, yeah.
That weight, yeah. I mean, and so many kids. I mean, how many people were we hearing, Bruce? Every other day, kids taking their lives, committed suicide and doing things like that.
It was so sad. I couldn't even cut on the daggum internet or the TV or nothing, man. They would bring it to my attention. If before it came to my attention, I would do stuff like go check the weather forecast on Google, right? and it would have a little ad up there right under the weather forecast. I had to just bypass that. Like I didn't even see that because I couldn't stand it, reading that or looking into it or anything, man. It would make my heart sink, man. Even though the kid, I didn't know the kid. It was just like, dude, man, you got a whole life ahead of you, man. This is just temporarily. But it's like, it's different when you're in a relationship with your spouse and when you have one with your kid, whether the kid is yours or not, but you decide to let that kid be part of your life. I mean, there's a lot of responsibility that comes with it, and with that responsibility, don't forget there's going to be tough times and okay times and easy times, happy times, hard times. All that is what I say is the best thing I started doing when the COVID was here, even though I was still by myself, was some personal development. That's what I started doing. Was whether it was reading or watching TV. I mean, watching the what's it called, the audio books on YouTube. That's what I started doing, was personal development. I mean,
listening to the audio books.
Yeah, I mean, well, shoot, you crazy. Sometimes, man, if you can find an audio book on YouTube, if you read the book, what is it? If you read the book in the hand and you listen to it on the audio on YouTube simultaneously, that mess it'll sink in your spirit and wake your ass up at like 3:14 in the morning. Hold up, man. How many times has that happened to me? It's gonna make you. It's gonna sink in your spirit hard.
When Bruce is watching those videos, this is what I picture him doing, just daydreaming right here. But listen to this music.
You can play some theme music in the background. It's all right. If you can play some theme music while you read a book, man. I mean,
that's comforting when you play theme music when you.
It is. Yeah. I mean, sometimes I may not want to, depending on what video. I'm like, I'll be listening to this video and reading this book, Outwitting the Devil. It's a good book to me. It's the same author of Think and Grow Rich. And but when you listen to what it's saying, and if you play theme music while that's going on, it'll make you think. But all that in relationship. And sometimes you want to, grab your spouse, grab your kid, and let them, get a taste of whatever it is you're applying, because it might work for him or her. Who knows? Because think about it. You're the one, like ladies, let's say, for example, the smallest thing your man needs. He just got laid off. The COVID's coming around. Your kids can't go out no more. And let's say you're a nurse, and nursing is a tough job. So you're a nurse, but your child is starting to show signs, and your husband is already showing you signs that, hey, this COVID and this being laid off is about to get on my last nerve. So before depression or being too stressed out hits either one of them too hard, and you're already a nurse, it's like, all right, go do family, so you can talk about this and that. The dad might have answers for the kids. You might have some answers for your husband, vice versa. But that's why you're one. That's why you're one family, because there's times like that, for better or for worse, that you're supposed to.
That's so true. That's so true. There's just so much going on these days. I mean, you look at what's happened in the past few days with, for whatever reason, well, we know some of the reasons. We know both of these deranged individuals in Texas were super MAGAs. But I mean, to some degree, they do have some mental health issues for whatever reason. Maybe they went down a rabbit hole during COVID and started listening to QAnon stuff on the internet and YouTube and all these chat rooms and all this stuff or whatever. But that led them to take, or maybe they're racist as well, which based on the social media posts they are. But that type of mental illness that they have is that hate they have in their heart led them to kill people. So now you have other families that are now destroyed forever because of the actions of these people and the actions they took. Maybe somebody knew, maybe somebody could have reached out to them and tried to help them. But a lot of times we just overlook it. We just say, you know what, it's not my problem. It's not, or that won't happen to me. That won't happen here. But the reality is it does,
Yeah. And just like what we were saying, man, as far as, being there for your spouse, man, because tough times going to come. We all know they are. I mean, when you see your spouse going through something as far as depression and stress before it gets any bad, the first thing, go to the doctor together, and whatever you do it together. Don't just her. Go with him or her, because the doctor or coach, whoever it is, whenever they say y'all need to do something, don't forget, it's y'all. It ain't just him or her. So you got to take the shield with you. Go ahead and take the shield. But I think is calculate while you can. Don't wait for it to, spread.
There you go. You're cutting out a little bit there, but we've come to that time of the show. We just want to thank you guys for joining, tuning in. We thank you for joining us today, tuning in. Please like, share, and subscribe, right? You can check us out on Chaos Conversation on Facebook. You can check us out on Chaos Conversation on YouTube, Chaos Convo, TikTok, all three platforms you can check us out on. We usually post the videos within 24 hours on YouTube, and then we'll post the link on Facebook as well, so you can check us out there as well. But hey, if you like the conversation, spread the word, tell a friend, follow us, join in. And if you would like to join the show, this is something Bruce and I are doing new, right? If you want to join the show and participate, send us a message. Go on the Chaos Conversation page, send us a message, tell us the topic or the question you would like to discuss. And hey, if we like it, we'll bring you on. We bring most people on, right? We don't really discriminate and don't care. It probably won't be for an entire show. It may be for only 15 minutes, or maybe 20 minutes, But guess what? You get to express yourselves, and we love to debate. So if you got something you really want to debate in the battle of the sexes where you think the women are right, hey, we're ready. We're all about it.
Let's go.
So until next time, guys, hey, we thank you guys for tuning in and listening. We really appreciate it. We'll see you next time.
All right, peace.